catching up with Zach Apple. Zach, you're coming off your first ISL match of the season. We reported lots on it. You went 45 and 100 free at least 3 times, maybe like 7. I don't know. I stopped counting. Take me through the match. How'd you feel about it?
I was super happy with how the match went. Day one, started off with the 50 free. 21-1 was super good. I think my best last year was like close to 21-7-ish, so huge improvement there. And then kind of going into the relays after that on day one, the men's 4 free, able to pull out a super good relay split, 45-1 there, to kind of bring us back up into second to finish there, which was exciting. And then 45-4 on the medley relay at the end, which I thought was pretty good to back that up after a couple swims already under the belt. A little tired at the end of the session. And then day two, starting off with the 100 free was the first event, and I thought that I had a pretty good shot at winning the event based on the relay splits the day before and based off what other guys had split and stuff like that. And so going into that pretty confident. Coming out 45-7 was super good. Again, like it was way faster than last season. Just set up the team well for this whole session going into the second day. And then followed up by the 2 free, a little bit. Actually, I didn't really know what to expect for the 2 free. Kind of switched up training a bit this season, a little more sprint focused, more like 100 free is pretty much the primary event that we're looking at. Being able to go up and down from there is the goal. So I didn't really know what to expect, but I felt like I swam it pretty well. I was able to close super strong. Just ran out of pool to run down Duncan there at the end, but second place was good. And then the mixed free relay at the end was super exciting for us. Being able to leave the team off with another sub 46 swim was good. And then just watching the other 3 do what they do and bring us home for the win was super, super fun. Something that we didn't really get to do last season with DC was win a relay. And so that was fun to get that off at the first meet of the season. Was awesome. And then the team was super awesome, and the skins and stuff at the end, being able to cut into Aqua's point lead of us and jump into third place at the end was super fun.
Yeah, for sure. Talk about, you got to Budapest, I think, about a week ago. What has life in the bubble been like for you so far? And what's the team culture kind of been on DC Triton?
Yeah. We got here, I think today's day 9 or 10. But it's been good. The first 24-ish hours was like a full quarantine. We got tested as soon as we got here. Then since then, there's just been certain protocols that are around. Everybody's wearing masks all the time, except for obviously when we're swimming or working out. But it's been good. Meals are socially distant, which are a bit of a bummer. Understandably, but usually coming to meets like this, you get to hang out with people at meals and whatnot and sit at big tables and chat, which you still can a little bit. You just have to talk a little bit louder. But it's been good. The vibe on the team is super positive. Everybody's having a ton of fun. I feel like we all came in. There's a decent group from last season that we all knew each other already, and then kind of brought in some either free agent pickups or some new people to the league. They just fit in really well with the team and kind of have the same goals and same mindset that we do on DC, which is just kind of making sure to keep it light and some fast.
Yeah. We already saw you guys were doing some racing down at Indiana. We saw you. I think you went 41.9 in a 100-yard freestyle that day. And so how did you feel just about generally racing coming in, knowing that you'd already had, a little bit under your belt?
Yeah, I was super excited. Obviously this is what we do. Racing is why we do the sport. At least that's why I do the sport. I don't really do it for practice. And so we actually did some long course time trials earlier in the kind of right at the end of summer with just the pros as well. And they were going super well for me. So I was pretty confident coming into this I was going to have some good swims, and then as well like that just that last I think 2 weeks ago now maybe that short course yards meet that we did, meet or time trial or whatever, went super well as well. So it just kind of is nice to see those results in a practice setting, knowing that you're set up well to go into a meet.
Yeah. You know, what have you learned so far just in this first week? Maybe in the pool or maybe even outside the pool. You know, what have you had to adjust any of your habits? Again, you know, the isolation I'm sure is a factor. Just not being able to be around as many people. Do you feel that you've made any significant adjustments in just kind of how you move through the week and how you might move through the next couple weeks?
Yeah. One of the big differences in the bubble is that training times are assigned to each team, obviously, but they're not like the same time every day. So each day your training time is a different time. So it's fine. But it's like we're used to just being on this like regimented schedule of like this is exactly when I go to practice every day. This is when I come home. This is when I eat. This is when I do that. When I take a nap. Blah, blah, blah. It was just like through routine every day. So that's a little bit different here. Is that it kind of just changed. Every day is different. You know, training times are different. The meal times are scheduled, so meal times are different, and just kind of have to go with the flow in that sense. But I think something that I've learned is kind of being here without we don't have any home coaches here. We're getting practices sent from home and stuff. Is I've learned to kind of listen to my body a little bit more through this first week and kind of add or subtract a little bit here or there in a practice to make sure that I'm staying on top of where I want to be on meet day.
So that this is your fourth year on the U.S. national team. How have you learned? You know, you kind of talked about how you manage a day or two before race day, and obviously in this particular ISL season where you're racing 5 or 6 weeks in a row. How have you learned to manage over these past 4 years? Kind of how to elevate your racing no matter where you're at. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be on a taper, but to elevate your racing to where you are now, where you're able to go, you know, sub 46 4 or 5 times in 2 days, as opposed to, all right, well, I have one really good swim and then it'll be like 3 or 4 months before I can swim that fast again.
Yeah. That's something that Constantine actually hits on a lot, is the change of mindset of the athletes into buying into being able to perform through a whole season. You know, he compared it to the NBA being like, if you go up to a basketball player and they're like, oh yeah, I'm a professional basketball player. You're not like, oh cool, they're like going to go to the Olympics then. They're like, oh, what team do you play for? You know, it's not like this basketball player is going to train for 4 years to swim once. And that's kind of what the sport's been. And so kind of changing the mindset of the athletes and of coaches, especially coaches, I feel like is going to be a bit of a harder challenge. You know, I think the athletes are on board with trying to get a season going and like trying to swim fast all the time. Coaches, I think, are going to be a little more stubborn because I don't know, it's just the way they grew up and it's just been the way it's been forever. Yeah, but I think it's in a process right now that it's moving in a good direction. But I honestly think that swimming college probably helps a little bit more than being on the U.S. team with the back-to-back days of racing like that, especially through an NCAA setting. Even though there you're like full rest and shaved and fully prepped and everything. Just being able to, like, especially on that third day or fourth day at NCAAs, I mean, you're just exhausted. And so being able to come in and put down your best effort and your best performance on those fourth days has kind of been what's made the difference.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And I think we've seen a lot of Americans and non-Americans who have been through the NCAA system kind of starting to shine, especially in this environment. Mm-hmm. So without your specific coaches there, how much communication are you having with, Ray or Corey back home, or John, and what are your sessions looking like, from between this last match and this next match this weekend?
Yeah. So I talk to John Long almost every day. Just kind of keeping him updated with how I'm feeling in the water and what's how practices are going, if I'm going faster than I should be or slower than I should be, whatever, just so he can make adjustments throughout the week. But Really, I'm a pretty simple guy. I don't really like get involved in the training too much. And so I had a meeting with John before I left, and our plan is to swim at the highest level possible at every meet that we're here, and hopefully get faster as we're here. And so that's kind of in his hands now. And so he's going to send me the practices. I'm going to do them as written and execute them as the best of my ability. But I think that having that plan before we went into this was a pretty major key. We got a schedule change in the season schedule, like, I don't know, mid last week. So there's going to be a little bit of difference. I think we only have 2 days in between 2 of our matches. So that'll be interesting how we're going to handle that. But we'll deal with that when we get there.
Gotcha. What went into that decision of, I want to swim at, the best I can at every one of these meets?
Yeah. I think especially in this year, right now, this is the only thing that is guaranteed. We've kind of seen that over the past 6-7 months, that who knows what's going to happen in the next 6-7 months. And right now we know that this is happening, and that we have a chance to swim fast and kind of see where we're at and see how training's going, and see if we need to change anything going forward. But yeah, I mean, this is now, and this is what we have. And so let's try and put on a show.
Yeah. Are there any specifics that you took from this past weekend and are like, okay, I can fix this moving forward into this next upcoming meet on Monday?
Yeah, I think we're going to get a little more short course meters training in this week than we did last week. And we only swam in a short course meters pool once last week before we swam the meet. So we were long course all the other days. And so just kind of getting those walls down a little bit better. Some of the walls were a little long, some were a little short, a little crunched. But just getting the familiarity with short course meters is going to help a lot. I feel like I think we have a short course meters opportunity to swim every day this week. So this is going to be nice.
Well, cool. Zach, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk with me. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we can catch up again with you, after one of your next upcoming matches.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. It's been good.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.